So now this class will see about these things, that you have two types of lightning arresters. Of course, you may have some other types, but as per the syllabus of yours, okay, we'll go ahead. So the Volvo type lightning arrestor is there. That is the first one. So we'll just see. Yeah, please see this now. See Volvo type lightning arrestor. So now you see the construction first here. What is the construction? You will find out is that what do you find out in the structure here? So see, you have some lines are there. Okay, some lines are there. So one line is there here. Okay. One line is here. This is the line. It is already shown. It is line. Now you connect the line to this lightning arrestor. So then you have some structure inside that. At the end, you have the grounding is there. Okay, so how it works, we'll see now this. How it works is that, say for example, the voltage, now here there is a air gap is there. There is spark gaps are there. See this now, spark gaps. Okay, these are the spark gaps. So if the voltage is high, first I will take the voltage is low. If the voltage is low, then what do you find out is that the current will take this path. The current will take this path. See, you will find out three resistors are there. So two resistors here are there. They are non-linear high resistance series resistors. Whereas this resistance is there, the other resistance at the end. Okay, so it's a lower resistance. So you have two higher resistance and one lower resistance is there. Two higher resistance, one lower resistance is there, and two spark gaps you will find out. Now the entire structure is inside. Okay, now you see the porcelain or pyrex glass housing is there. So what you find out is that two spark gaps you will find out, three resistors you will find out. Out of these three resistors, two resistors are high resistance, high resistors, whereas the third one is the lower resistance. Okay, and this entire thing is inside this porcelain or pyrex gas housing. Okay, inside that we will find out, and inside that you will have either SF6 gas or nitrogen gas you will find out. So any one of this gas you will find out inside this glass housing. Okay, this is the brief construction. Okay, see here what do you find out? Two spark gaps you will find out, and three resistors you will find out, and this entire thing is enclosed in the porcelain, or it is in pyrex glass. Okay, it is enclosed either in the porcelain or in the pyrex glass. Now inside that you find out SF6 gas or nitrogen gas you will find out. Okay, this is the basic construction of this valve type lightning arrestor. Now how it works here is that when the voltage is low, what do you find out when the voltage is low is that the voltage or the current will flow through this. It will enter like this, then it will flow through these resistors. Now because these air gaps are there, so because of these air gaps, as the voltage is low, it is not sufficient to produce the spark here across this air gap. So as it does not provide any kind of sparks here because of the voltage is low, that voltage will flow through this high resistance. Two resistors are there, two high resistance are there, so it will flow through this high resistance, and after that it will flow through the low resistance. It will enter into the grounding. This is the procedure when the voltage is low. And now we don't need to worry that whether when the voltage is low, it will not be harmful to the line. It will not be harmful to the system when the voltage is low. So this direction of the current will not be a problem to us. Okay, it won't have any problem or it won't have any effect on the system. But this lightning arrestor will be more effective when the voltage is high. Then only we will use this lightning arrestor. Otherwise, there is no use of the lightning arrestor. Okay. So when the voltage is high, what is happening? That we need to concentrate. Okay. So what is happening now when the voltage is high? Then that voltage, see, generally high in the sense it is in terms of the kilovolts. Like like you see, okay. So like you have the lightning case. So in case of the lightning, the voltage is very high in terms of kilovolts. So when that high voltage pass through this lightning arrestor, then the air gap which is present here, okay, whereas the air gap which is present here, sparks will occur, and when the spark occurs, there is a conduction path will be created. So the current will flow through these air gaps now. It won't flow through these high resistances. It will flow through the air gap, and it flows through the air gap, and it will enter into the resistor like this. Which resistor? A low resistance path. There is, because this third one is the low resistor. So the current will flow like this. Through this it will flow, and through the air gap, because that high voltage will definitely, okay, spark will definitely ignite this, or flash over will occur across this air gap. So this air gaps will conduct. So once it is conducting, it will flow through the low resistance. So the current will feel low resistance through this path whenever there is high voltage. So whenever there is high voltage, because of this high voltage, the current flowing through the lightning arrestor will feel low resistance. Why it feel low resistance? Because the air gaps will conduct now because of this high voltage. So it makes a conducting path here. Now after that it will travel through this resistance. Now this resistance is low. Already I told you that this resistance is low. So that low resistance will conduct, okay, and the entire current will flow to the ground through this lightning arrestor. Okay. Now because of this, what do you find out is that the current will flow through these air gaps, and we call that current as power follow current. Power follow current. Okay. Now after some time, what do you find out? This high voltage will extinguish because the lightning will be there for certain amount of time. So during that time, the air gaps will conduct, and that effect entirely will go into the ground through this low resistance. But after some time, this high voltage once again will extinguish. So this high voltage will not be present, or this high voltage will be absent. If this high voltage is absent, then the line voltage only remain. That is, the low voltage will remain. So then once again, what is the path is that then that low voltage cannot ignite these gaps, or it cannot conduct this gap. So it will flow through the high resistance. So when it is flowing through the high resistance, it has very low current because the resistance are very high. So that's it. So whenever the voltage is high, it will flow through the air gap. Whenever the voltage is low, that is under normal condition, it will flow through the high resistances. So as the resistance is very high here, then the current will be very small when the voltage is low. But when the voltage is high, it will flow through the air gap, and the air gap now will conduct, and it will flow through the low resistance. So the current will be higher. So the entire current will take this path rather than going to the system. There is a system is here. So it won't go to the system. It will go through the air gap, and through the resistance, lower resistance, it will go into the ground. That is when the voltage is high. So now once this conducting path is created, that current you call it as power follow current. So this power follow current will be there once the sparks are once the gaps are conducting through the sparks. Okay. Now this entire structure can be redrawn as like this also. Okay, two capacitors will be there, and you have a resistor. Okay, so these two capacitors, these are air gaps. So whenever there is high voltage is there, then this dielectrics will break and the current will flow like this. Whenever high voltage is like that, whenever low voltage is there, then it will take another path through the resistance. It will take this path. Okay, the current will take this path because these capacitors will not conduct because of the low voltage. Okay, this is how it works when we have the system. Okay, now here you have some other types of systems also there. In the wall type you have different types are there. One is station type. The main feature of this station type is that, okay, its voltage is 2.2 kilovolt to 400 kilovolts. It is available with this voltage ratio. Okay, so we have seen the graph last class. This graph will be there. Just recall this graph, and we call this time as T1, whereas we call this time as T2. So this time T is 50% of peak, whereas this is peak. Okay, so the station type, okay, this station type valve lightning arrestor, this one, okay, this one, okay, when the peak voltage is in between this, you generally go for this station type valve lightning arrestor. Okay, this station type. Okay, generally for this voltage range we go for this. Okay, what is the peak voltage? This is the peak voltage. This is the 50% of peak voltage. This is time taken for the peak, and this is time taken for the 50% of the peak. This we have already discussed. So another type is line type. Station type valve lightning arrestor. This is line type valve lightning arrestor. Okay, so this is okay, main advantage of this is that it is cheaper. Comparatively it is cheaper. So okay, that's the main advantage of this one. Okay, but the voltage range is more or less same as your station type. Okay, sometimes even higher. Okay, sometimes even higher also, higher than this voltage. Okay, so mostly it is in this range only, but in some models even the higher voltage than this also are also available in the line type valve lightning arrestor. Okay, now the third type is that distribution type. These are the three types of valve lightning arrestors: station type, line type, and distribution type. This is mainly used in protecting generators and motors. This is mainly used in this case, that in protection of generally distribution side. Okay, so you call this as distribution type valve lightning arrestor. So you generally use for protection of generators and motors. So these are the three types of the valve type lightning arrestors. Okay, so the principle is same in all the three types. Okay, that you have the spark gaps like this. Okay, and the spark gaps will conduct only when the voltage is high. Otherwise, the high resistors will conduct. Okay, so now Okay, so now the other type, now this is a valve type we discussed. Okay, the other type is now zinc oxide surge arrestor. Okay, so we'll see the construction first here. What is the construction? You will find out in the zinc oxide surge arrestor is that. Okay, so we'll see this here now. So okay, we'll do one thing. I will draw one more. I will just take another picture of that so that we'll have more. Yeah, see this now. So zinc oxide or ZNO lightning arrestor is there. So here, what do you find out is that the construction you see now. This ground terminal is there always, and the line terminal is also there. So when there is a high voltage, it will enter through this. So it will have to enter through this. Now here you find out a spring here. What is the purpose of this spring is that this entire structure is there. So main structure, I will tell you what is this zinc oxide. I will tell you. This zinc oxide, I hope you know this material, zinc oxide. Okay. So this is a generally it is a semiconducting material, zinc oxide. Okay. Generally it is N type. It's the N-type material. So you add some more doping materials, okay, to this N-type material, okay, especially insulating materials. Remember now, insulating materials. So main you will add some insulating materials, okay. So this ZnO is there, that zinc oxide is there. To this ZnO, this is N-type material. So for this N-type material, you will add some doping materials. Especially they should be insulating materials such as, I will tell you, bismuth, okay, Bi2O3, or antimony trioxide Sb2O3, okay. So cobalt oxide COO, okay. These kind of insulating materials you generally add, okay, in the form of powders, So you add all this to your zinc oxide and you make into some blocks. You see here some blocks you will find out. Yeah, you see these are the blocks. So here you find out this is the block. Okay, this is the blocks. Okay, so some blocks you will make. So what is the purpose of these blocks are that these blocks are nothing but the resistors. They are nothing but the resistors. Okay, so and they are variable resistors. These vary with respect to the situations or with respect to the temperature and with respect to the voltage level. Okay, or you can say non-linear resistors. These values are not constant. These values changes with respect to the voltage level. So these kind of blocks you put here inside the lightning arrestor. Once again, same thing. This entire thing is inside the porcelain housing. Okay, inside the porcelain it is there. It's a kind of glass. So inside that you will have the structure, and once again inside that you have this SF66 gas or nitrogen gas. Either SF6 gas or nitrogen gas is there between this glass and this entire structure. So what do you find out in the entire structure is that you find out the blocks. Some blocks you will find out one over the other. What is these blocks? They are made up of ZnO along with some insulating material powder. Okay, insulating powder will be there. So what is the purpose of this is that these blocks now will work as now resistors, variable resistors. Okay, these values vary, okay, with respect to the voltage and some other electrical parameters. Now what else you will find out here? You will find out the silicon rubber is there. Okay, that is because the powder you cannot hold like that as it is. So you have to put the powder, okay, with a solid casing. So that is here as silicon rubber. Okay, that is here as silicon rubber. Okay, and you have electrodes are there in between. You see there are electrodes are there. So what is the purpose of these electrodes? You know very well. The electrodes you use to connect between two blocks. Between two blocks you connect these electrodes. Then whenever there is a fault occurred here, or whenever there is a high voltage across this, then because of that high voltage, uh, okay, this it makes a very good conducting path, and it will flow through the electrodes and also through the zinc oxide resistor and into the ground. This is the thing. So this is very same as the previous one only. The same principle it follows, that here also you have the resistors, there also you have the resistors. But one thing you don't find out here is that there are no air gaps. You see here, no air gaps are there. Just like in the previous case, you have the air gaps, and the spark will occur across those air gaps, and it forms the conducting path. And also there will be power flow current, power follow current, in case of the previous case. But this case you don't find out no air gaps, no power follow current. So no air gaps are there. It is entirely through this zinc oxide material. That's an insulating material whose resistance varies with respect to the voltage. Okay, and the structure remains same. Now what is the purpose of this spring is that, the purpose of this spring is that to hold this entire thing, okay, rigidly. Okay, to hold this thing rigidly, you generally use the spring here, okay, at the top of the lightning arrestor. So the same principle here, that whenever there is a high voltage is there, that high voltage will pass through this line terminal, then through these blocks, ZNO blocks, and through the ground. Okay, this is the working, and this is the construction also. Okay, now of course it works same as the previous one only. So what is the advantage of this is that now it has some advantages over the previous one. One by one we'll see what are the advantages. Just we will list out whichever advantages we see here. See, I told you that no air gap is there, so no spark. You don't have any spark because there are no air gaps is there. Okay. Another thing is that the leakage current is very low. What is leakage current? Leakage current in the sense, you see the previous case, in this case, when even though the voltage is normal or even though the voltage is low, still it will conduct through these high resistors. Of course the resistors are high, but even though the resistors are high, still you find out some current. That current you call it as leakage current. That current you call it as leakage current. So this leakage current is very low in this case. That's what he said. That's another advantage. Okay, and the third advantage is that there is no power follow current. No power follow current, because no air gaps are there, so no power follow current. So when you have the power follow current, there is a possibility of the power loss. Okay, now another advantage is that because of all this mixture of this ZNO with these insulating materials, okay, it has high power absorption capacity. It has high power absorption capacity because of these materials which we are using. Okay, okay, so these are the main advantages, four main advantages. Okay, so okay, so okay, so then we will have, okay, that's it. These are the four main advantages of this zinc oxide surge arrestor compared with this. Okay, okay, then we will go to another topic. Okay, so let's see what is the topic here. So I hope you remember this thing, that one topic is there, bill. So what is this topic is that basic impulse insulation level. It's called bill. So what is this says is that, okay, you can say that every system, see for example you have designed a system. For example, you take the transformer only. So transformer is a system. Okay, so that system, okay, that system, what do you find out in that system is that, what do you find out in this system is that, see, different parts will have different insulation levels. Okay, different parts will have different insulation. Okay. So here, what is this basic insulation level is that it is a common insulation for the entire system. Okay, it is the common insulation for the entire system. So you take a particular system. In that system, for example, you take a substation. Say for example, you take substation. So in the substation, you have the bus bar. You have bus bar is there. You have transformer is there. We'll take only these two for the time being: bus bar and transformer. So this has one insulation level, this has another insulation level. Say for example, this is insulation number one. Insulation level in the sense, it's insulation level. Level in the sense, it's what is the highest voltage it can withstand. That's called insulation level. And whereas it has another insulation level, it also has the highest voltage level, how much it can withstand. But the entire substation, not only these two, you have some more equipments also there in the substation. So every equipment has a particular insulation level. Now, when you take this whole substation, then okay, every part has a different insulation level. But what is this basic impulse insulation level is that among all this, we will decide, okay, for example, if it is 10K, if it is 20K, another one is having 15K. Then what we will decide is that we will decide, okay, the insulation level of this entire thing as a only one level. For example, we will come to this point as some 10K. 10K is the basic insulation impulse insulation level of this system. So that is called BIL. Okay. Okay. So likewise, a basic insulation impulse insulation level bill is nothing but it is calculated based upon, it is a factor, it is a insulation level based on the system. Okay, we will first search all the system, what are the different components are there, different equipments are there. Every equipment, it has a particular insulation value. Now we will integrate all these things and we will come to a point that, okay, this should be the basic insulation level or basic impulse insulation level for this entire system. Okay, now why we require this BIL is that while selecting the protective device, okay, so this insulation, this BIL value is very important, because what I told you already that the insulation of protective device should be less than the insulation of system. This we have seen. Then only the high voltage or surge voltage will pass through the protective device, and it will the system will be protected. So the insulation level should be less than the insulation of your protective device should be less than the insulation of the system. Now the system, every system has different equipment. I said, you take the case of the substation, you have bus bar, you have transformer. So both are having different insulation level. Then how do we know what is the insulation level of the system? Then we will have this BIL, that is basic impulse insulation level of this system. So this one should be, okay, greater than this protective device insulation. Okay, so to decide that, when we want to select the particular protective device, we need to know that what is its insulation level, and also we need to know what is the insulation level of the entire system. So what is that system here is nothing but it is BIL, that is basic impulse insulation level. So every system has this BIL value. So that BIL value, and when you compare with this protective device insulation, so this protective device insulation should be less than BIL of the particular system. Okay, so what is this, how do you calculate this BIL is that, so you generally calculate like which is having lower insulation among all the devices, which is having lower insulation, we generally take that as BIL. Otherwise, okay, this protected device cannot protect. Okay, so I will tell that. Okay, generally it is represented in units. Which units it is represented as that? It's represented as like this, 1.2 by 50 microsecond. The units of BIL is something like this, 1.2 by 50 microseconds. What is this value that I will show you? You recall this graph, voltage and time graph you recall. So there in the voltage and time graph you recall, we have drawn this graph. You recall that. And we said that this is T1, whereas this is T2. It is a peak value. It is 50% of the peak value. Okay, just recall all these things. So this time we have done this thing also, that this time is 1.2 microsecond, whereas this time is 50 microsecond. These are general values are there. So your bill values also rated like this, that 1.2 by 50 microsecond, for example. Then the protective device which you select, the protective device, okay, should have greater than 1.2 by 50 microsecond. So its insulation level should be greater than this value. What is this value? This is a bill of particular system. Okay. Now, how do you understand this 1.2 by 50 microsecond? This can be understand from this graph, voltage time graph. That this is the time T1, this is the time T2. T1 is the time for the peak, whereas T2 is the time for the 50% of the peak. Okay. This way you can get the meaning of bill.